I think people, after the fact watching the movie don't even realize how much goes into that one scene that comes out looking so true. Because again, in looking a lot of this up, there have been tons of articles about actors who have really had sex on camera. By the way, is that true? Have people had sex on camera?
In isolated situations, yes, but that's not the norm, and that's not illegal. You have to remember this is a workplace. I mean, that is illegal. This is a workplace.
Mm,
Yes, we're creating art, but at the end of the day, this is a workplace. And now, again, since 27 and the Me Too movement, all the studios and all the productions make us sit through a sexual harassment
mm.
video.
Right, of course.
So, yes, that used to happen in some isolated cases, but generally, no, that's not what they're doing.
Right. Okay. It just looks like that in some
Yeah,
circumstances.
we're there to make it look like that and for you to believe that.
Right. So I want to talk about the logistics of that because I feel like a lot of people are interested in that. How do you make it look so real? So, as you said, there's a huge percentage of that into the prep. I just read something about, I think her name is Allison Williams from Girls. Is that her name? And she had to do all this prep. There's a scene in the beginning where, her partner is basically leaning her over and motorboating her butt, basically, essentially. And she talks openly about what that was like and the anxiety that went into it and how they made sure she smelled like cake. And she was very verbal about how she wanted to make it good for her acting partner and that she wasn't horrified. And then I think as a viewer, you're just watching this and you're like, oh my God, how did they do that? So I guess my question is what kind of prep goes into it with you involved, right? Someone that's an IC that is physically prepping the area that we don't see in there.
Hmm. Well, a lot of it is camera magic
Oh,
in that you think you're seeing something that you're really not seeing. So it has to do with where the camera is. And so I have long talks with the director and the camera, the DP about ideally, where would you like the camera? And I can also help you with where it would be best so that it really looks like this is happening, but it's not really happening.
right.
So, and then her scene was done before IC's were on set. And so I really don't know exactly how that went down. But how I would prep something like that is so there's always a barrier or some kind of padding. So it may look like the actor's face is right here on her bum, but it actually is probably at least this far away. And
Right.
the camera might how can I show this? The camera might be behind the head of the person, and it just looks like that by the way their head is moving. Another thing that is really important in these scenes is breath work, sound, the actual sound, and the score. And so when I'm looking at a scene and I'm trying to dissect it, I turn the sound off so that I can really just look at what's happening and then I can see exactly how it was really done. And so it may look like the actor is right up there, but they're not. There's a wide divide and there's all sorts of boundaries and what is it called? I completely lost the word. Barriers
Barriers, right.
in between.
So Michael Douglas did not have sex with Glenn Close in Fatal Attraction on the same.
Not that I've heard of. No.
Okay. Because it looks like they did.
I know. And that's what filmmaking is
That's
all
the
about.
genius of it, I guess. Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, what's the difference between an IC and then like a choreographer? Or are you a choreographer of the moves?
Well, I'm trained in movement and choreography, and most standard choreography comes in to dance. And so a choreographer on set would be choreographing dance moves.
Okay.
But so I am trained to actually choreograph the movement of the scene. And so, like I said, some directors need that, and some know exactly how they're going to shoot it, and they know exactly what they're going to do. But I work with some directors that just go, okay, you go rehearse with the actors and then show it to me.
Right.
And I come up with the whole gag.
And who's technically allowed to be in the room? Like, does the actress or actor have to have their manager in the room, or are you their
Oh no.
liaison and it's just the essential crew?
It's a closed set, and what a closed set ensures is that the actors are uh, only dealing with essential personnel, like you said. There's
Mm.
unfortunately more personnel than you would imagine, but it's usually, and then there's also, on a big budget project, there's monitors all over the set. And so all on a closed set, all those monitors are turned off, and only the essential crew can watch them. And they usually set up a tent so that people can't walk by and see the action.
Mm.
But it's the director, not all the producers, usually just one that will represent that group. The first AD, I like to have the heads of department of hair and makeup and costumes there so that they can watch to see their work to make sure that their makeup is still holding or there isn't hair in the way and make sure that there's continuity, which is really important. The
Mhm.
script supervisor is able to watch. It's the least amount of people, focus puller, sound sometimes, but it's as small as can be. Now, on a small set, like a really indie movie, there might be three people on the set.
Hmm. You mentioned before about how it's illegal to have sex, right? To have
That
intercourse.
would
So
be porn.
right. So that's what I was going to ask. Uh, what about, there are circumstances, I think Robert Pattinson has talked about the fact that he jerked off or masturbated, whatever the technical word is, in a movie to get the real reaction. And there have been other actors that talked about doing things like that. How is it not considered porn in certain circumstances?
That might be the old days.
So after
That
2017, things changed.
Yeah, that would not happen now because, again, I work not just with the actors and the filmmakers, I'm also there for the crew. And the
Yeah,
crew didn't sign up for that,
totally true. Yeah,
right? And
that would be
so, like,
awkward.
I've been in some situations where an actor just wants to be naked in between takes. And we encourage them to, put a covering on because the crew didn't sign up to see that.
Mhm.
Again, this is a workplace.
Right. It is.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the chemistry and a little bit about like what I think you mentioned it before about people's home lives. Obviously, we watch these actors on screen and you think, oh my God, the chemistry is their real chemistry. Like we saw in what was it called? The Love Story, the one with Brad Cooper, and everybody thought he was in love with Lady Gaga. Their
Mhm.
chemistry was amazing, and everybody was convinced that they were both going to break up at their home lives and be together. It didn't happen. At least we didn't see that happen. What I guess my question is, I'm sure it happens enough that people do fall in love with their characters, but like, is it more technical behind the scenes than we really know? And we're just seeing really good acting? Like, what would you say being on the inside of that?
I think it's a little of both. I've been a longtime casting director, and so I put together ensembles and couples all the time. And we do have what we call a chemistry read, where we put them together and they read a scene or they just hang out and we watch them and we can see what kind of chemistry there might be. For instance, I worked on the first Raiders and the second movie, Indiana Jones.
Mhm.
And when we're casting for the two leads, we would have the actors come to the producer's office and we had this fabulous kitchen. And so we would put them together to make a meal or to make a dish and to see and filmed it and just to see how they interacted. And so chemistry is something that you can't really manufacture. It's
Mhm.
either there or it's not. But then being a really good actor helps sell that.
Right. Wait, on a sidebar, have you ever seen it that two people in real life really don't get along, but their chemistry on camera is exquisite?
Yeah, and many times that dislike, that fire, hate is the opposite of love.
Yeah. So that friction.
And so either both of them have passion. And so they both just like feed into that passion and use
Right.
that.
Yeah. So it can translate
Yeah,
well,
it
which is great.
absolutely does.
But do you ever have people coming on the set from like home trying to watch what's going on and you need to get them off
They're
the
not
set?
allowed.
They're not allowed.
No, they're absolutely not allowed because it makes Usually it'll make the actor self-conscious, and it will make all the other people in the scene incredibly uncomfortable, and it'll be really awkward. And they're not essential. There's no reason why they should be there.
Right.